Hey guys, Chris here. In this video, we are doing the Motorway range test in the 2023 Polestar 2 Performance. So today, we're going to find out just how far this car can go on a full charge of battery at a constant 120 kilometers an hour or 75 miles per hour. And then we're also going to find out how close can it get to its WLTP rated range of 455 kilometers. So without further ado, let's get on the way and I'll see you guys on the road. We are now Oscar Mike and we've been on the road for about 27 minutes now. We're heading north on the E6 motorway and conditions are nice. We have dry roads, though we have a little bit of drizzle here and there and some sections of dry roads. And also we have a crosswind from the east of about 3 meters per second. But maybe the biggest, challenge today is the temperature, 2 degrees Celsius outside, not warm. And that reflects on the consumption, 25.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And also per usual, we're doing 120 kilometers an hour on the speedometer. But at the end of the video, in the chart, we're gonna see the actual measured speed, time divided by distance. But we're always doing 10 above the speed limit on the speedometer in all of the cars. But different cars are differently calibrated, so the speeds may vary with a few kilometers per hour. But other than that, it's a nice route. Today we're still doing the same loop, which is 216 kilometers. That's the loop we always do on the Motorway range test, but we do have a different starting point today. We started at Shell in Nebbenes at the Recharge chargers, and this video is also sponsored by Recharge. More about them later on in the video. But we're going north to Moelv, and then we're going south to Gardermoen again, and then back to Nebbenes. So still the same loop, 216 kilometers, but there are many recharge chargers on this route, so I thought it would be interesting to just try out a different one. And also the ones where we usually start at Gardermoen, they're not finished yet. They're upgrading that station, but we're going to talk about that more later on in the video. But other than that, this is the performance version of the Polestar 2, which gives it the big battery pack, 75 kilowatt hours in net capacity, and also dual electric motors with 467 horsepower. From 2023, that is standard on the performance version. Earlier models, you could buy that as an upgrade because before this car had 408 horsepower. But okay guys, we're going to continue on north now, and I'll catch up with you once we get to our turnaround point in Moelv. Okay, we are now at the end of the 4-lane motorway, which is our turnaround point here in Moelv. So we're gonna take an exit right up here, and then we're gonna go underneath the motorway, and then we're gonna get on the motorway on the southbound ramp. But before we do that, let's take a look at the consumption. Okay, 24.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And we've been on the road for 45 minutes now. So yeah, consumption has dropped considerably. That is very interesting. Another thing also, guys, I'm going to do, the Norwegian high-speed run, of course, in this vehicle and my full review. But I want to talk a little bit about the way this car drives and rides. So I don't know if there's a change for 2023, because the 2023 model year is just like, slight changes here and there, some new wheels, some new colors. And I know, the single motor standard range gets a bigger battery pack, so more range. So I don't know if there's any difference in this either, no, other than the power bump as standard. But this has, those Öhlins adjustable dampers, and Polestar did set them to the softest settings for me. I think it's 21 in front and 20 in rear, or the opposite. But either way, I think this car feels softer and more compliant because I don't mind the ride at all. Even though I've been driving it a little bit in the city, it actually rides and drives quite nice. So it will be interesting to see my final verdict in the review, which will be probably next week. But okay guys, we're now on the southbound motorway, and I'll catch up with you once we get to our other turnaround point in Gardermoen. We're now at exit 51 southbound, which is by the McDonald's in Gardermoen, and this is usually where we start the motorway range test, but as I said, they're upgrading the station here now. We'll explore that in 2-3 weeks. I think they're gonna be done. So we're gonna do another U-turn here, or go in this roundabout and then cross over the motorway. And then we're gonna get back on the motorway northbound for about 15-16 kilometers back to our end stop in Nebbenes at this Shell station there. So just quickly, let's take a look at the consumption. 24.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So it has actually dropped a little bit, which is a little bit surprising. So that means that, you know, that crosswind was probably a little bit of a headwind also, since we're getting lower consumption on our way back. And it's still cold, guys, 2 degrees Celsius. Wow. Just like a week ago, it was 15 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it's really swinging in the temperatures now. So okay, let's head north and talk to you in a little bit. Okay, we are now back approaching our start point, but from the south, which is a little bit weird, and not the north. And that's because we have soon completed the loop. I think once we hit the bridge up here, or probably the other side of the bridge on the other roundabout, I'm going to stop the timer because that's going to give us, you know, a proper time, and we can then calculate our average speed afterwards. But as you guys can see, it is getting really, really dark now. It's almost 4 o'clock in the evening or in the afternoon, and it's pitch black here. It's a little bit lighter on camera than what it is. This guy's really like up my butt. What's this guy's problem? Really like close to me. Why? Okay, but okay. It's gonna get darker about 5 more weeks, and then it's gonna get lighter again. But we have about 2.5 months now with dark. What's this guy's deal? My God. Okay. Well, okay. So let's go back to the charger, and also let's take a look at the consumption, which is 24.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. 24.4. Not good, not too bad, but it is cold outside, 2 degrees Celsius. This is on the big wheels, so this car's gonna get, you know, a little bit worse WLTP rate to range than the cars with 19-inch wheels. So we're gonna do this charger here, and we do have the connector or the charging port on the left side of the car. So we're going to hop out now and connect to a charger and see what kind of charging speed we get after a few hours on the road, not preheating the battery. That is intentional. So as said, let's go ahead and connect to a charger. So here under this roof, where they probably had pumps before, they have 2 chargers, and then they have 4 over there. All of these are 150 kilowatts, which is really nice. So let's grab a hold of the cable here, connect. And when I did, you know, the charging before this video, the initialization went pretty quickly. So it started to charge quite quickly. Let's see what happens here. It is, preparing for the charge. And let's turn around the camera here, and then, yeah, quite quickly. I mean, that did not take it too much time. And it climbs not the quickest. You guys can see here, it is climbing, but it doesn't just jump up to that speed. But as I said, we have intentionally not navigated back to this actual charger, so the car's not preheating, and we do that for 2 reasons. So first off, we don't want the car to preheat and use more energy because we want to calculate the total range you can get out of a battery. So, you know, that may simulate you going to an end destination where you're maybe just going to charge overnight. Maybe you're going to go to a hotel, to your house. I want to, you know, just get the most range out of this car. And the other thing also, what happens if you don't actually, you know, navigate to a charger? What if you forget navigating to a charger and you don't put that into the, you know, navigation in the Polestar 2? Then the battery won't preheat. Will you still get a decent speed, or, you know, will the battery be cold? So here we're hitting more than 100 kilowatts, not too bad. So at 16%, you know, this being the 75 kilowatt hour battery pack, if the battery was up to temperature, we should be getting 140, maybe 100 145 kilowatts. We're only getting 112 kilowatts, but that is, as I said, it's 2 degrees Celsius outside. We did not navigate to a charger, so that is the reason. So before we jump into the car, I want to just say a quick word about today's sponsor, which is Recharge. We are at a Recharge charger. As I said, they have 250 kilowatt chargers here under the roofer, and then they have 4 over there. So Recharge is, as I said, the sponsor here on the channel. So thank you very much, guys, at Recharge for sponsoring today's video. They are the largest provider of lightning fast, rapid and AC charging in the Nordic countries. I think they have about 2,500 charging points, which are 50 kilowatts or faster. And when you include the AC charging points, they have more than 4,000 charging points, which is completely insane. So if you go to the link down below, you can find a link to the Recharge charging map, and just find out where your closest Recharge charger is if you want to support the channel. Before we end today's video, let's take a look at the battery pack size, the consumption, and then calculate theoretical range. So this 2023 Polestar 2 Performance has a net battery capacity of 75 kilowatt hours. We take that number divided by the consumption, 24.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and then subtract about 3% in heat loss. We get a theoretical range under today's conditions of 298 kilometers, which is not the best, not the worst. We didn't quite hit that 300 kilometer mark, but it is quite cold outside today, between 2 and 6 degrees Celsius. And if we look at this car compared to the long range dual motor we did last year, we got about 18 kilometers more range. But there are a few differences. That day we tested that car, it was raining, but the temperatures were higher. Today the temperatures were colder, but mostly dry roads. We did have used some damp roads, some wet roads also, and a little bit of drizzle, but I don't think that that contributed to much higher consumption. But the interesting thing is that this car, does have that performance upgrade. It has, more power on the rear electric motor. This is rear-wheel drive bias after this, power upgrade. So this car, just out of the box with the same wheels, should have a little bit higher consumption. And also it is on 20-inch wheels, which also are less aero than the 19-inch wheels. So that also should, heighten the consumption. So, if you compare them directly, which is hard because of the the different variables here, this car should be less efficient than that car. But today we got more range, which is really, really interesting. So hopefully I'll get to test a long range dual motor on 19-inch wheels in the near future. But maybe Polestar have managed to make this car more efficient in the past year with also this 2023 model upgrade. I think that is very much possible. There have been, software updates in the meantime that would suggest that. So guys, let me know what you think down below, because 65.5% of its WLTP rated range, not too bad, especially considering the colder temperatures today. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys there, and goodbye.